Have you ever heard of a civilization that could build cities with almost modern precision, but left behind a language that we to this day still can't read? Well, that's the world we're diving into. This is the story of bricks, beads, and bones, the Harappan civilization, one of history's greatest puzzles. Our whole journey really starts with something like this. It's a Harappan seal. Now this thing is tiny, carved from a soft stone called steatite, but it's an absolute masterpiece in miniature. You can see this powerful animal, right? But look closer, at the symbols up top. Those aren't just for decoration. Nope. They are what's left of a lost language, and they are the key to this entire mystery.
That's right. It's a script that has stumped everyone. It's a code that nobody has been able to crack. We can literally see their words, but we have absolutely no idea what they were saying. So that's the big challenge, isn't it? How on earth do you piece together the story of a culture when you can't understand a single word they wrote?
So, where do we even start with these incredibly enigmatic people? Well, the story of who the Harappans were is also the story of how they were found again. A wild tale of how an entire civilization was literally dug up after being forgotten for thousands of years.
The whole reason we call them the Harappan civilization is because the very first clues were found at a site called Harappa in what's now Pakistan. And since we can't read their writing, archaeologists have to become detectives. Seriously, every little piece of pottery, every tool, every single brick is a clue, a piece of a story that we have to put together ourselves.
And the timeline here, it's just staggering. I mean, things start stirring around 3500 BC, but the real fireworks, the Golden Age, kicks off around 2600 BC. That's the mature Harappan phase, when their incredible cities just shot up from the ground. But just as fascinating is how it all ended. By 1900 BC, things start to go wrong, and the whole civilization just slowly fades away.
And don't for a second think this was some small little culture. No way. The scale of their world was absolutely immense. It stretched all the way from the border of modern-day Iran to Uttar Pradesh in India. It covered huge parts of what is now Pakistan and even bits of Afghanistan. We're talking about a civilization on an epic scale, a massive network of cities and towns.
But, of all their amazing achievements, the one thing that still leaves archaeologists just speechless is their cities. These weren't just random collections of houses. Oh no, they were masterpieces of urban planning, centuries and centuries ahead of their time.
So, one of the first things you'd notice in a Harappan city is something called the citadel. It was this raised, fortified platform usually on the west side of the city. And that physical separation, totally on purpose. It tells us so much about how their society was set up. You had a clear hierarchy, with the powerful folks in important buildings literally looking down on everybody else.
And this really gets to the heart of their genius for order. Their cities were laid out on a perfect grid. They used standardized baked bricks, which shows you just how good their engineering was. And get this, their sanitation systems with covered drains were more advanced than what many places had thousands of years later. All of this points to one single, inescapable conclusion. Someone powerful was in charge, calling all the shots.
Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking 4,000 years ago, a civilization that valued civic discipline, public health, and meticulous planning above all else. They built a world of almost unbelievable order.
And yet, this is what they left us, a script that's a complete riddle. It's the great paradox of the Harappans, isn't it? Their physical world was a monument to logic and planning, but their intellectual world, their very own language, remains a total mystery, a locked room.
So if we can't read their words, how in the world can we know anything about their daily lives, what they traded, or what they believed? Well, once again, we have to look at the stuff they left behind. So let's play detective and examine the clues.
And the very first thing their stuff tells us is undeniable. These people were brilliant craftspeople, just brilliant.
I mean, just look at the detail in these beads. The precision is just incredible. They worked with everything from local stone to precious gems, like this stunning blue lapis lazuli. And the fact that they were importing this all the way from Afghanistan tells us two really important things. They had a real eye for beauty, and they had the trade networks to go out and get it.
So when you break it all down, you're looking at a surprisingly modern kind of economy. It all started with having enough food, an agricultural surplus, to support big cities. That freed people up to become amazing artisans, and the whole system was fueled by a massive trade network that connected them with other huge civilizations like Mesopotamia. It was complex and it was thriving. But what about what was going on inside their heads? What did they believe? Again, we go back to the seals. A lot of them, like this one, have these powerful animals on them. Some experts have even suggested that certain figures you see might be a proto-Siva, like a very, very early version of a major Hindu god. But, and this is a big but, we have to be super careful. Without being able to read their writing, it's all just educated guesswork.
And that brings us to the last great mystery. A civilization this advanced, this organized, this widespread. How did it all just stop?
Yeah, the archaeological record, it tells a pretty grim story. Around 1900 BCE, something went wrong. The great cities, once buzzing with life, started to empty out. All the things that made their culture unique, the script, the standard weights, their cool pottery, it all just began to disappear, like a photograph fading in the sun.
But why? I mean, what could possibly bring such a mighty civilization to its knees? Was it Mother Nature? Maybe a massive climate shift? Or a river changing its course? Was it a terrible disease that swept through their crowded cities? Or maybe were they invaded by outsiders? The debate still rages. Honestly, the collapse of the Harappan civilization is as big a mystery as their script.
And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? This quote says it all. We're trying to piece together this incredible history using only the physical things they left behind. It's like having a puzzle with thousands of pieces, but the instruction manual is written in a language we just can't understand.
Which leaves us with this final, tantalizing thought. If we ever do crack the Harappan code, what's it going to tell us? Will it just confirm all our theories about their rulers, their gods, and why they disappeared? Or will it reveal a story so completely different that it forces us to rethink everything we've so carefully built from their bricks, beads, and bones? That is the secret that's still out there, waiting to be told.